Hi, today we're talking about Moonrise Kingdom.
Musical styles are still a very important form of communication for our young people. Hi, I'm Joe Feinstein.
Welcome back, everyone. You know the deal, I'm on the road to 500 subscribers, so whether you're new or a returning viewer, please make sure to like and subscribe. Now, before we get into the actors that I'm sure you'll be familiar with, I want to take a quick moment and praise the two main actors that did the leads. That would be Jared Gillum and Cara Haywood. Admittedly, I haven't seen any of their respective works after this film, but considering this was both of their first major film productions, they absolutely knocked it out of the park. There's just a wonderful charm and charisma that they share on screen that really helps bring everything else together. As for the more known cast you'd be familiar with, we have Bruce Willis, Tilda Swinton, Frances McDormand, Edward Norton, Jason Schwartzman, and even Bill Murray.
God damn it, Bill fucking Murray!
We also have to give a shout out to Robert Yeoman, the cinematographer. Much in the same way that people associate the pairings of Coen brothers and Roger Deakins, Alfred Hitchcock and Robert Burks, or even Peter Jackson and Andrew Lesnie. Robert Yeoman has worked on 9 of Wes Anderson's most prolific films and really helped shape the style and flair that Anderson has come to be known for. Now, normally I would just try to focus on a few characters or a few different plot points, but this film has so much to love and enjoy, I'm gonna have to talk about damn near everybody, and I want to start by focusing on the adults. The first and largest of that category is Mr. and Mrs. Bishop, as well as the affair with Captain Sharp. The affair itself isn't anything intense, it's mostly just two lonely people who are looking for something to cling to. And it's mostly Mrs. Bishop just sneaking out of the house to share cigarettes with Sharp and just talk. It's abundantly clear that even outside of that, Mr. and Mrs. Bishop have had problems for a very long time.
I'm sorry, Walt.
Which injuries are you apologizing for, specifically?
Specifically? Whichever one still hurt.
Sharp obviously has strong feelings for her, but it feels more like a combination of just liking her and simply not wanting to be alone. He lives on a small island inside an even smaller house, and he's one of the only police officers on the entire island, so he spends the vast majority of his time alone. I think that's why Sharp was so fond of Sam and decided to take him in. Sam reminds him of himself in numerous ways, and he doesn't want Sam to A, end up in a juvenile detention center, or B, and more importantly, end up like him. Likewise, despite being super angry at Susie for running away, the parents put their own problems aside and run all over the island to bring her home safely. And when they do, Susie says something to her mom that A, resonates with her because of the situation at hand, but also the affair, and B, just kind of leaves her speechless.
You just want to be together. What's wrong with that?
Now we can talk about my favorite character among the adults, Scoutmaster Ward. On a first watch and first glance, he could easily come off as less than qualified or semi out of his depth, and maybe that is true at first. But if you watch again, you see a man who takes his duty of care seriously and feels personally affected that someone under his care would take off despite getting a letter clearly saying he wasn't the problem.
I am very sad to inform you I can no longer be involved with the Khaki Scouts of North America. The rest of the troop will probably be glad to hear this. It is not your fault.
But he immediately mobilizes a search party.
Let's find our man, bring him safely back to camp.
Notifies the police.
Morning, Randy. What can I do for you? Over?
I'm not sure exactly. I've got an escaped khaki scout. Over.
And does not rest until the situation is resolved. And even when they locate Sam initially and they think the matter is over, he still feels a deep pit of sadness because he still feels like he could have done something more to make Sam happier. Now, maybe it's because Bruce Willis as the police/new father figure takes up a little bit more screen time that we ultimately lose track of the Scoutmaster, but he's a wonderful character and he definitely deserves his praise. Not to mention, he gets the sweetest love story. There aren't many lines of dialogue spoken between him and the island's switchboard operator Becky, but throughout the film, you can see them looking at each other and quietly speaking to each other on the side. And towards the end of the film, when Ward is about to go out in the storm to look for Sam and Susie, he picks a handful of scouts to go with him, but she steps up too to volunteer and make sure that he's okay.
We gotta go back out there. I need volunteers. You? Okay, and you, and you. You? Are you alright? Of course I am.
And at the very end, we see he has a picture of her in his tent. It's just so goddamn cute. So now that we've taken a look at the adults, we can examine the kids. And to be fair, I really don't have a lot to say about Susie and Sam themselves. They're quirky and cute, and I do enjoy the love story, but I encourage you to see this film for yourself and take a look and see what you can muster up about that. But what I would really enjoy talking about right now are the kids of Troop 55. They start out as antagonists to Sam, being the reason he left in the first place. Even if he hadn't met Susie, he was gonna run away at some point because of how they were treating him. Now, when they're first sent out on the rescue mission to find him, they all bring as many weapons as possible because they think he's crazy. And when they find him, Sam straight up asks them why they even care to find him if they don't even like him. And rather than having any legitimate answer, they just go in for the attack, resulting in several injuries. But on the way back from the attack, they actually start complimenting him.
Tried to chop him, but he dodged my tomahawk.
He's got excellent marksmanship. Shot Luca in both arms.
And once everybody tracks Sam and Susie down, the troops see that they really did just want to be left alone to be together, and something kind of clicks in their brains. They end up having a roundtable discussion about how horrible they've been and that they need to make it right.
Damn us! It's none of our business. This troop has been very shabby to field man Sam Shikuski. In fact, we've been a bunch of mean jerks. He's a fellow khaki scout, and he needs our help. Are we man enough to give that?
They gather some supplies and sneak out of the camp to bust Susie and Sam out of their houses and try to get them off the island. One of my absolute favorite villain to hero transitions I've ever come across in a film. Past that, there are still a lot of smaller yet really fun things to love about this film. Sam pulls a Shawshank and comes off like kind of a badass in his opening scene. Harvey Keitel shows up for a small cameo as the top commander of the scout program. The whole troop listening to Susie reading her book by the fire. The tree house that defies gravity. Jason Schwartzman arguing about nickels.
Can we loan them the nickels? I'm worried about their future.
That's my fee.
What do you think? I don't know.
What'd I just say? That's my fee. I'm keeping the nickels.
Susie going over the table at another girl. The fact that lightning seems to be easier to walk off than a stab wound. And the fact that this film is about 40% long takes. And y'all know damn well I love me some long takes. To wrap up, I really enjoyed that the opening of this film describes an orchestra and the smaller parts within it, which can also be applied to the way that smaller stories within a film make up the film as a whole. Not to mention, the thunder in the background will foreshadow the large storm that's going to dominate the third act of the film. So that's Moonrise Kingdom. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode, hope you had a lot of fun, and I really hope you're ready for our favorite game! Stop the presses! This film starred Bruce Willis, who was in Armageddon with Ben Affleck, who was in Batman vs. Superman with Amy Adams, who was in Arrival with Forrest Whitaker, who was in Rogue One with Ben Mendelsohn, who was in The Dark Knight Rises with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who was in Season 1, Episode 9 of the all-new Muppets in 2015. You know me, it's what I do. Thank you again for watching. Obviously, if you've got any suggestions, leave them below in the comments. And as always, I'm curious, what do you think?
Musical styles are still a very important form of communication for our young